Welcome back to the weekly news roundup and the Quicklines edition. So we have just a bunch of different things in here, and let's go ahead and start off with our main story. The Amazon is facing class action lawsuits over Ring facial recognition feature. This is what I'm here for, man. I'm telling you. So this relates to the fact that they have this new feature, and I talked about this before in a couple different pull-out videos. When basically your Ring camera now has facial recognition features that you can set of a common person that comes to your door frequently with a custom message. So like you'll get, instead of a person is at your door and it's like your mother, it'll be like, yeah, your mother's at the door, or the mailman's at the door, or, you know, something like that. And the problem I have with that and a lot of other technology is the companies have gotten to the point where the people who are going to give over their data are giving over their data. Those that won't. So how do you get the data from those people that refuse to give it over? That's a good question. And so really the answer to that good question has to be this. Well, let's just have other people give it to data because they just don't think about it. I mean, clearly, if you're running a Ring camera, privacy is not high on your list of priorities. And so let's go ahead and just feed all of this information back to Amazon and just tell people, oh, that's my mother, all that, you know, whatever. And the problem with I have with this and a lot of these other types of things is that as these people are doing this, they don't realize that they are feeding private information of other individuals into a system that they did not consent to. This is also why I think that Facebook should not be allowed to accept your contacts from your phones. Like, you know, like, give us your contacts. You know, you can say, well, I'm consenting to give you the contacts, but did the person whose contact that is consent to have their name given to Facebook? No. And that's what we need laws about. And so that is what this suit is about. And so looking at it, they announced the Familiar Faces feature last September and faced pushback from consumer protection organizations like the EFF, as well as Senator Ed Markey. And the company moved forward with its plans to launch the feature in December because they don't care. Familiar Faces lets Ring users identify people who regularly come to their homes through facial recognition. AI facial recognition, note at that. Ring users have to opt into this feature, but privacy advocates noted that the people who walk past these doorbells have not consented to facial recognition scans. And that is true. In fact, the way this works completely violates Illinois law, which has very strict laws about it. In fact, in Illinois, if they launch this out, and somebody from Illinois needs to sue over this, because the way Illinois' law is written, it is strictly punitive. It is literally every single person who has walked past every single Ring camera, every single separate incident would be a separate offense, and Amazon may have to pay that person up to $1,000 per violation. So walking through a town in the state of Illinois, you could rack up $50,000 in payments to Amazon because they're violating the biometrics policy. So it'd be interesting to see. They might have that feature turned off if you have a geolocation in Illinois, but who knows? Anyway, Ring users have to opt into the feature, but the privacy advocates noted the people who walk past have not consented to the facial recognition scans. Company states the face data is encrypted and never shared. We've heard that before from Ring. Unidentified faces are automatically removed after 30 days. Yeah, which means that if I have identified you as my mother, then you are retaining that information despite I did not consent to that. They've settled with the FTC a $5.8 million fine, which is, you know, here, have a penny from Amazon, over allegations the company's staff and contractors had inappropriately accessed videos from women customers. The FTC's complaint said that every employee had full access to every customer video, even if the worker had no need to access that footage. So Ring canceled its plan to partner with the video surveillance company Flock Safety, after which gave footage to ICE and other federal agencies. I don't want them giving footage to anybody, but that's what's up with them. This is also neat here. This is the Bambu Labs update. And you may have been, if you're following Louis Rossmann at all, you've probably heard something about the Bambu Labs, where there's been fight. Somebody made basically a version of their software, and they threatened legal action, and Louis Rossman's basically said, hey, let's all fork this, and like 30,000 forks of their code happened. So good luck with all that. And then Louis Rossman's over there saying, hey, come sue me, bro. Come sue me, bro. Well, the actual Software Freedom Conservancy, which is custodian over these licenses, actually has finally stepped up and said, absolutely, unequivocally, yes, you are violating our license in 2 places, and they are actually engaging in actual warfare now with Bambu. So Bambu, go get eaten by a panda or something, you know. So after recent news of violations on the Faro General Public License version 3, SFC staff began a comprehensive compliance investigation of both user space software and firmware on Bambu's devices. The investigation is ongoing. 2 specific violations have been confirmed. Some put source code for Bambu Studio can be found on Bambu's GitHub organizational account. They admit publicly that they have violated the license by combining Bambu Studios with a proprietary library, which they distribute to the user via an interactive prompt in the UI. So that would be a violation of the code. Additional violations here, the keeping with networking library proprietary is not the only way they have violated it. A software developer and Bambu Labs user, Paul Jarczak, I think, released another mechanism to integrate with Bambu Studio's server-side components that did not require replacing or modified the libraries. Instead, he made changes to a different slicer by merely examining the incomplete source code for Bambu Studios. So he basically did a reverse engineering. So they believe that Bambu has behaved badly for years and made multiple provably false public statements regarding the license and its requirements. The recent aggressive behavior towards Powell was the last straw for us. We've decided to launch a multi-pronged effort that will assist customers and users in the short term and also work towards a long-term strategy to improve the software right to repair for all 3D printer consumers. Amen. And tell Governor Hochul to go screw off with their illegal New York law. No, it's not California law. I think they both have one, don't they? It was the California's law that was totally dystopian. The New York one was just crazy dystopian. New York, crazy dystopian. California, totally dystopian. Hotel California. What about that? So a couple of things they're doing here. One of them there is Powell's work was actually going to be the canonical repository for maintaining it. Take that. Ours now trumps yours. This is kind of like fun fact. This is a really fun fact and a totally off tangent story. Actually, it is so crazy and long and off tangent. I'm not going to tell it in the recorded video. If someone reminds me in the comments section, maybe I'll tell it at the end. Hey, we don't have to worry about power. So, you know, maybe that's the case. Anyway, let's see. Our staff spent last week investigating the violations discussed here, but we will not stop there. We normally do not actively look for violations, but in this case, we're going to watch Bambu Lab closely and continue to investigate, regularly looking for any potential violations of the license. Yay! Watch what you're doing, Bambu. You might get slapped. Anyway. All right. Meta is now reportedly developing an AI pendant. Just kind of envision, you know, I know if you're from my generation, Monster Squad's a thing. You know, you got Dracula and have this big pendant. Now imagine you have the big pendant there that's constantly seeing everything and listening to all conversation. This is like Dracula on steroids or something. I don't know. But anyway, Meta is developing AI-powered pendant that plans to start testing in the next year. Users can attach it to their shirt or wear it as a necklace to record their conversations. Meta said the acquisition would allow it to accelerate our work to build AI-enabled wearables. Now, I will tell you this. If you see this, Meta glasses, anything like this, know your laws on the wiretapping laws, which there's some discussion and debate. Does it deal with public or not public? In Pennsylvania, it would appear that you can't record somebody without their consent, even in public, if they're expecting to be in a private conversation, because Pennsylvania is a two-party state. So if you happen to see somebody with those kind of looking your way, you can just go up and say, hey, I do not consent to a phone conversation if you are in a two-party consent state. Like public phone. Now, there's some debate and discussion. Does that apply just to phone conversations as part of the wiretapping, or is that broader? And it would appear in many court cases that it is broader than just a phone conversation. And so if nothing else, that's a good way to go. Business Reform Today just did a look at some of the signal jammers that would actually do a pretty good job of preventing smart glasses and things like this from recording your conversations. If you're sitting, literally, we are to the point in our world, like if you guys have seen V for Vendetta, and of course they have that constant surveillance going around. So it's like 1984, loosely based on, that book right there, 1984, where, you could always potentially be listened to. So when they're having a private conversation, the chief inspector puts down that little scrambler thing so that nobody can hear the conversation. We are literally in a world, thanks to Meta, we literally have to walk around with these things and set them on our table when we're out to dinner to make sure some scumbag a couple tables over is not recording our conversation with Meta Ray-Ban glasses. And that is a absolute insanity that we have to live in a world like this. We need solid bans on this crap. And so that's what I want to mention there. It's quite dystopian and crazy. Signal users targeted in backup stealing phishing attacks. So, of course, with Signal, you can they made a change where you can actually back up your data to the Signal cloud, and it requires this long and complicated passkey there. And so a new phishing campaign targets Signal users by attempting to steal that backup recovery keys, which if you are syncing your stuff to Signal's cloud and somebody gains access to that decryption key, guess what? They can steal all of your historical conversations. So this is how this works. There's a little message you would get. Action required. Data recovery needed. Your Signal account data, messages, and media is at risk of permanent loss due to a sync issue. To avoid losing your messages and media, go to Settings, Backups, Configure, Enable Backups, View Recovery Key, copy the recovery key to your clipboard, paste it into this chat. If you're stupid enough to do that, you deserve to get your stuff taken, to be clear. But all that being said, okay. Yeah. So, of course, don't do that. That's dumb. There's a few red flags. Name is not verified. Yeah. Where's that at? Yeah. Signal support. Name not verified. So repeated threats of losing all your data and pasting the key into the chat. Signal support would not ask for this. If hackers obtain this key, they gain access to the victim's account. They can download and decrypt the entire message history. So don't do that. How to stay safe. Don't be a moron. There's that. There you go. They will never ask for those keys or things like that. So there's that. There's some fun fake copyright notices designed to steal Google logins. So this is a official looking copyright removal claiming your extension is about to remove. So this is targeting extension developers on the Chrome store. And why would you target that, and why do we mention that here? Well, we mention that here because if somebody falls for this, so if you have an extension by a small fly-by-night guy that's, not paying much attention, they could fall for something like this. And basically it says, hey, well, there's a copyright claim on this extension, and they send you the page right there to enter your information. And they're basically going in, stealing your data, and what they're trying to do is just steal your developer account, because if they can access your developer account on a phishing scam, then what they can do is they can go ahead and take over that repository, the extension, put malicious stuff in it, and auto update to all your users. This is why, if possible, you should not set your extensions to automatically update. It sounds crazy, but you shouldn't. But you should be watching for updates. And then if you see an update, look at the actual logs, make sure it's all verified, make sure that the developer is still in control of it, and then push the update. You don't want them to automatically update into malware. That's kind of crazy. And so Chrome extensions have access to users' browsers, and they can be updated automatically. If attackers gain control, they will be able to modify the extension, access developer account, and redistribute the software. So just be aware, and this is a good reason to not use a lot of extensions in what you're doing. This is two-pronged news. GoDaddy found malware on 1,980 WordPress sites using Steam as a C2 infrastructure. The first big piece of news to me is that GoDaddy has a security team. This is totally news to me because GoDaddy is the most insecure, garbage-filled, ridden trash I've ever actually worked with. So the fact they even have a security team completely baffles me. I've never heard of a security team at GoDaddy before. So I'm wondering if GoDaddy has deployed AI as a security team. I'm wondering. Because the malware that they found is so amazingly brilliant, I do not think anybody that possibly could work at GoDaddy could possibly have found something like this. This has got to be an AI-identified scam. It deals with comment sections, Steam accounts, and malicious WordPress backdoors. So what's going on? Well, you get a malicious backdoor, and then this turns on a command and control server that monitors Steam profile comments. Yes, comments in your Steam profiles. It monitors these for activation codes that looks kind of like activating the Winter Soldier. So the actual payload is hidden until using a variable, invisible Unicode characters embedded between visible text. So here is an example of one of these. So this is that comment. And let me see if I can make this guy bigger here. All right, so I'm deleting your daddy, and then there's a crying emoji, wave, probably wave goodbye, and then just a bunch of stuff here, 10%, 35%, 60%, 99%, error, true. Okay, all that weird stuff there. That is the programming language that the command and control server hacking the WordPress website uses to install the backdoors. Nobody at GoDaddy can come up with this. They have deployed AI. You're not going to convince me otherwise. So anyway, all right. The malware strips all visible characters from the Steam comment, which maps each invisible character to a number between 0 and 5. The visible characters serve as camouflage, while the invisible characters carry the actual payload. Malware installs a backdoor that listens on every WordPress page, load and checks for 2 specific authentication cookies, incoming post requests. The first cookie triggers a ping response to tell the attacker the backdoor is still active and returns a version identifier. The second cookie is the destructive one. So they sent an updated PHP code. The backdoor searches every plugin theme file for a marker and overwrites the matching line with new code. So this might be, I was cleaning up a website for somebody that might have actually been infected with this. This thing was so amazing. It was actually reinfecting itself as I was cleaning it on the fly. It was definitely an interesting malware I had to deal with. And it was not on a GoDaddy server. It was on I think it was a HostGator server or a Bluehost server. I think it was a HostGator server, which is also horrible security. All right. Once more, we give you those warnings about those online password managers. Dashlane, some hackers got in there and stole some customer vaults. Now they say only 20 customer vaults were accessed, but this was done by brute forcing the MFA, which means they have really poor security on MFA. If you can brute force your MFA, well, you got a problem. So password manager Dashlane says hackers obtained at least a dozen encrypted vaults used for storing customer passwords during a cyber attack. The company said on the website the hackers brute forced the company's 2-factor authentication systems, granting the hackers access to about 20 customer accounts. So of course, if they have these things and they have copies of them, yeah, they can brute force some way into those vaults. If they get into there, guess what? Every single thing you have in there is now compromised. So be careful, Dashlane people. Be careful. Malware is coming for you. Carnival data breach exposes personal data of 6 million Poop Cruise customers. I don't think we can't say Poop Cruise anymore, can we? Is it now Bat Crap Cruise, Mouse Crap Cruise? What's the latest? I mean, Hentavirus is like coming from mice, but you know, Carnival disclosed it. So 6 million people had information leaked. Guess what they leaked? Hey, your names, addresses, emails, phone numbers, dates of birth, government-issued IDs, and passport and driver's license numbers. Yeah, everything people need to verify that they are the criminal, not them. You know, you are the criminal, not them. So when they go ahead and get caught with their sleazy underground criminal enterprise, the FBI kicks your door in instead of theirs because they know your customer right on into who you are by stealing your information because you had to go on a Carnival poop cruise. How wonderful. Unauthorized actor used social engineering to deceive an employee to gain access to a limited portion of the company's IT system. How wonderful. Part of the investigation, they determined a bad actor illegally accessed certain personnel accounts. Wonderful. So, poor security happening at the company, and now all of your information is leaking out online and being used to verify scumbags to target little children who shouldn't be on Roblox. Wonderful. Uber is now putting 500 data collection vehicles on the road this year. Very much like the Google Street View cars, these things are collecting real-life data. What frightens me about this is that they actually have 30 different autonomous vehicle technology partners. What does this mean? This means a whole lot of people are lining up to collect data. How long before they have a backdoor partnership with Flock so that as these things are driving around, they're able to report data, license plate numbers, car details, to Flock camera? I have a sneaky suspicion if that's all not already in their deals, they're probably working on that in the back end, because these things are driving around. Remember, tow truck drivers will put ALPR cameras on. They get paid money from companies like Flock to put license plate reader cameras on their tow trucks as they're driving around to pick up all the details of things that are going all over. But these things have 14 cameras, 8 solid state LiDAR sensors, and 9 radars, with various partnerships. They're feeding data into NVIDIA's system. Their aim is to develop the world's most geographically diverse set of training data specifically geared towards autonomous driving. If successful, this data set will give its AI partners 360-degree time-synced stitched view that can be used to train self-driving software. Kind of like what Pokemon Go was doing to build the map of the world. How wonderful. And our last quick line here, we found this fake invoice campaign while scammers are still building it. This was frightening because, I use services, I don't use any of these ones, but I use services like these to email invoices to clients. So emails impersonate PayPal, Amazon, Geek Squad, and others. There's one shared goal to scare you into calling a phone number where a fake support agent is waiting. So effectively what they found at Malwarebytes is they found some of these that had the blank fields where phone numbers should have been, indicating that they were part of the malicious scam. So here's actually a copy of what the thing would actually look like. You see the phone numbers and things like that, the prices. What they found is they found these, which what's the current crypto value? Here's the phone number that's supposed to be in there. So, here's who the email's to. So they found a number of these. This one here is the Geek Squad one. There's the pricing stuff that's all missing. The phone numbers are missing. You can see they're all using the exact same stuff, indicating that they are all coming from effectively the same malware group, but it appears as though it's not completely done because some of the data is not being fed in properly. So particular flavor is called phantom invoice or refund scam. The trick is psychological, not technical. The emails can often slip past spam filters. There's no malicious attachment. The scam is the phone number that you're urged to call. And that's, once you call, then, the scammer will be like, hello, Abu Jafar, I'd like your credit card number. Let's just cut to the chase. I'm here to scam you and steal your number. Give me your credit card. And then you could get one of those like sound studios. You see the memes of the people messing with the tech scammers. They got a sound system going and they simulate a car crash. Like, I'm bleeding all over the place. And the scammers all that. That's okay. Just give me the credit card number. It's like, burn in hell. Watch out for those invoices. If you're expecting an invoice, it's one thing. If you're not expecting it, probably scam. So there you go. What's your thoughts on that one? But we're going to go ahead and jump on over to Sillyville. Our first one here wasn't directly technology. I had a number of these not directly technology ones. This is just the best of them. We got to have this one here. Massachusetts police respond to call about a man in camo with a bazooka, and they find a landscaper with a leaf blower instead. Some little old lady. I think there's a guy with a bazooka walking around my backyard. Yeah, it was a guy with a leaf blower. Caller from South Pleasant Street reports male party wearing camouflage clothing and possibly carrying a bazooka in the area. Officer reports male is a landscaper with a leaf blower. Never seen one of them before. So, all sorts of weird stuff going on. So, of course, we got the memes here. Adios, manchianos. I'm going to blow these leaves up into a neatly neutralized mound where I can then rake them into the truck. There you go. I believe these are rubber bullets. Can anyone confirm? This is the most Massachusetts thing I've ever heard in my whole life. He's the one that hit my granny with the bazooka. Scary part is he had an Abrams tank about half a block away. Oh dear. Anyway, on to our more technology-based Sillyville. For any of you bird watchers out there, you now have the Kiwi AI-powered bird feeder with a $7.99 a month subscription that'll let you identify the bird that's coming to your feeder. So there you go. This is a couple $100 too. So if you do like the birds and you're an avid bird watcher, you can put one of these guys up and you can smoke all the guys in your bird watchers club. Oh yeah, I mean, I just sit on my back porch and rack up my numbers, guys. So you basically get this bird feeder. Inside of it is some AI cameras, and they do take some pretty good pictures. Here's the bird over there. So if you pay for the subscription, they'll actually ID what the bird is for you. So you can just go, oh, look at this. I have 21 visits from the blue jay, 17 from the song sparrow, 43 from the northern cardinal, northern raven, 2 visits, mourning dove, 8 visits, and the house sparrow, 75. That house sparrow, man, he's after it. There you go. But yeah, there you go. For you bird watchers, there's some silly news for you. Seattle has that new $116,000 smart toilet. Yeah, they just decided to vandalize it. I have traveled the country. I've traveled the entire country. In fact, as I was mentioning on our supporters call yesterday, just outside of Seattle was the only place I saw a porta potty so nasty I wouldn't use it. I mean, I go up to this thing. It was a little park. It was probably a suburb. I don't know, maybe like an hour, maybe 45 minutes, hour from Seattle. And you go in there, it's a park, you're in van life, you got your onboard facilities, but if you don't have to use them, it's better, right? And so I pull into the park, they got a porta potty, I gotta go, let's just go into the porta potty. Open the thing up. This thing had not been cleaned, I'm not sure if ever. There was literally a turd mountain going up to less than an inch from where you sit down. Like, you risk the cheek sliding across that chocolate, man. It's like, oh God. All that to say, porta potties are cheap, porta potties are easy, and they work. Here in Seattle, they got serious problems. They're out there spending $116,000 on a single smart toilet. And it's Seattle, so of course it was vandalized very quickly. Y'all in Seattle need to vote those morons out who are in charge and maybe bring a couple people who have, maybe 2 or 3 neurons rubbing together, issuing an occasional spark. I don't know. One of Seattle's new 116,000 smart restrooms has been vandalized just 2 weeks after installation. The city spent $465,000 on 4 of these. And you people are letting them do that. Vote those people out. Yeah, so there you go. Tried toilets like those before. They were used for drugs and prostitution. Now they're vandalizing them for fun. Yep, there you go. So anyway. Well, we started the show with Amazon. Let's end it with Amazon. Amazon will show you AI images when you search for some reason. Like, is it not already bad enough that when we're doing these things, like, you're searching for something, you want to know, is this the product I'm actually buying? You're looking at the images and they are AI rendered images of the thing you're buying. Why not just take a picture of the thing you're selling and put it up there? No, they got to do the AI rendering. And so now you type in a search for something and Amazon's just going to start giving you pictures it generates. Why? Oh man, did this not take my thing? And it's like, it was weird things. Okay. Like they send the blog post how the feature works. Customers may have something in mind but don't know the right term to describe it in a way that returns useful results. Amazon gives you things like cowl neck. I have no idea what cowl neck means, but I would never be searching for cowl neck. I have no earthly idea what that is. Or rattan for furniture. What is rattan? I swear, skibbity toilet has infected the modern mainstream vocabulary. If you're going up there and you're searching for skibbities on Amazon, you have a problem, okay? I'm searching for some rattan. You mean furniture? I have no idea. Maybe this is a good thing. The AI will be able to tell us exactly, precisely what we are getting. Holy moly. Yikes. So... Yeah. I'm lost. I'm lost for words. Are you lost for words? Let me know your thoughts about all that in the comments down below.